They thought your vulnerability would be your downfall, that it would break you. They watched with gleaming eyes as you stumbled, faltered, and bent under the weight of the world. They saw your brokenness as an invitation to strike, to push further, to prove that you were weak, fragile, a casualty in the battle of life. They didn't know you like you know you. They couldn't see what you held inside, buried beneath the surface, what you were too afraid to even see for yourself. But what if they were wrong? What if instead of breaking you, those moments of vulnerability were shaping you, refining you, turning you into something greater than they could ever imagine? What if every tear, every failure, every setback wasn't a mark of weakness, but a testament to your strength, a proof of your resilience? What if the very things they thought would destroy you were the ones that would eventually empower you? You stand now at the crossroads of realization, facing the person you've become, the person forged in fire, shaped by pain. And you begin to see clearly now that the vulnerability they tried to exploit was never your greatest flaw. It was your greatest strength. It was the thing that held you together when nothing else could. It was the thing that kept you moving when the world tried to stop you. It was the quiet force, whispering in the background, telling you that you were not broken, you were just being remade. The world has a way of convincing us that our pain is a curse, that our struggles are signs of defeat. We're told that to be strong, we must be impervious, unshakable, invulnerable. That, to be admired, we must show nothing but success, nothing but triumph. But what if real strength isn't about being flawless? What if it's about standing up, even when we're torn apart? What if true power is found not in avoiding the cracks, but in embracing them, letting them fill with the light of our experiences, our resilience, our growth? Consider the battles you've faced, the ones that nearly broke you, the ones that left scars deep enough for you to doubt your worth. In those moments, did you ever feel like you were anything but weak? Did you ever think that you might not make it through? It's easy to believe that those moments of darkness are a reflection of our fragility, that the pain we feel is an indication of how little we matter. But look at where you are now. You're still here. You didn't just survive those moments, you grew in them. You became stronger because of them. The world wanted to define you by your moments of vulnerability, to place you in a box labeled broken, incomplete, or fragile. They didn't see the fire that was quietly building inside you, the power that was waiting to rise. They didn't know that vulnerability, when embraced, doesn't make you weak. It makes you unstoppable. Think about it. Every time you were knocked down, you got back up. Every time life tried to break you, you bent, but you never broke. And every time you felt small, you found a way to rise, to stand taller, stronger, more aware of your power. It wasn't your perfection that got you through, it was your willingness to keep going. It was your refusal to let the world's perception of you define your reality. And now here you are, at a crossroads where you can choose to step into your power, to stop hiding from your vulnerability, to stop seeing it as something that holds you back. Instead, see it as the force that propels you forward. See it as the very thing that will take you to heights you never thought possible. The struggle, the pain, the heartbreak, they were never the end of your story. They were the beginning. So ask yourself, who are you now, standing on the other side of your battles? What have you learned from the weight you've carried? What have those struggles taught you about the untapped power inside of you? This is the moment where you stop running from your story and start embracing it. This is the moment when you step into the realization that every part of you, every scar, every wound, every crack is what makes you who you are. And it's the very thing that will carry you forward. They thought you'd be their weakness, but they were wrong. You are not your pain. You are not the judgments others place upon you. You are the strength that rises from it. You are the power that refuses to be defined by anything other than your own will. And now, the world will witness the power of someone who has learned that their vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but the key to their greatest strength. The world looks at you through a lens that's been distorted by its own biases, misconceptions, and prejudices. It doesn't see you as you are, it sees you as it wants to see you, shaped by expectations and confined to the narrowest of definitions. In the eyes of society, you are expected to fit into molds that are often made of perfection, strength, and unshakable success. But in the moments when you stumble, when you struggle, when you fall short, the world points and whispers its judgment. It calls you weak, fragile, and inadequate. And suddenly, you begin to question yourself, wondering if they are right, if maybe you really are as weak as they say. You have heard it before. The voices that call out when you don't meet the idealized standard of success. The people who speak louder when you fall and softer when you rise. They see your vulnerability, your pain, your moments of uncertainty, and they quickly label you. They define you by your struggles, not your triumphs. They measure your worth not by your character, but by your outward appearance, your social status, or your ability to hide your pain. To the world, your struggles are signs of weakness, as if only those who sail smoothly through life deserve respect or admiration. But what if this view is a lie? What if these labels, the ones placed on you by society, are the very thing keeping you from realizing your true power? What if the struggle itself is the key to your greatest strength? In this chapter, we will dive into the perception of weakness, the way society views those who are struggling, and how we are often misjudged, misunderstood, and minimized because of it. Think about the moments when the world has tried to define you by your failures. Perhaps you were passed over for an opportunity because someone saw you as incapable. Maybe a loved one turned away in disappointment, seeing your pain as a reflection of your weakness, not a testimony to your resilience. Perhaps even your closest friends questioned your ability to overcome obstacles because they only saw the surface, the tears, the self-doubt, the sleepless nights, without understanding the fire that was burning quietly beneath it all. These moments, these experiences of betrayal, doubt, and judgment leave deep scars. They shape the way we see ourselves, pushing us into a corner where we begin to believe the labels others have put on us. We start to internalize the idea that if we cannot perform flawlessly, if we cannot be the picture-perfect version of ourselves, then we have no value. This is where the conflict begins, the conflict between who we truly are and who the world tells us we should be. But it is in these very moments that the spark of defiance is born, the spark that ignites a fire inside, a fire that says, I will not let their perception define me. I will not let their judgment shape my truth. The moment of defiance isn't loud or brash. It's quiet, subtle, almost like a whisper within your soul. It's the realization that your vulnerability is not a flaw, but a strength. It's the understanding that your pain doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And it's through that humanity that you'll find your true power. This shift in perspective is not immediate. It doesn't come easily, and it doesn't come without struggle. But there comes a moment, often after the deepest pain, the hardest betrayal, when you see the truth for what it is. You see that the world may try to label you, but it doesn't know your story. It doesn't know what you've survived, what you've learned, and what you've become because of those battles. And when you realize this, when the spark of defiance grows into a full-blown fire of self-awareness, something powerful shifts within you. In that moment, you stop caring about society's judgment. You stop measuring your worth against the standards that were never meant for you. You start to realize that your struggles are not a reflection of your inadequacies. They are proof of your strength. They are the things that have shaped you, hardened you, and prepared you for something greater. And so you begin to defy the labels. You refuse to let others dictate your narrative. You start to see your pain not as a weakness, but as a source of untapped power. The world may see vulnerability as a flaw, but you know better. You know that it is in those very moments of vulnerability that we find our deepest reservoirs of strength. And as you embrace that truth, you become unstoppable, defying the world's perception of you and stepping into the full power of who you were always meant to be. The voices inside your head are relentless. They whisper when you wake, when you sleep, and in every quiet moment between. They are not always loud, but their presence is constant. These voices are the voices of your doubts, your fears, your insecurities. They are the ones that tell you that you're not good enough, that you don't belong, that you will never make it. They are the voices that echo the limiting beliefs you've internalized over the years, the beliefs that were handed to you by others, by society, and even by your own experiences. These beliefs are the chains that hold you back, convincing you that you are incapable of achieving your dreams, of becoming the person you truly desire to be. But here's the truth. Those voices, those beliefs, they are not you. They are not your reality. They are just the remnants of your past, the echoes of a world that tried to shape you into something you're not. These limiting beliefs are not facts. They are simply stories you have been told and over time have begun to believe. And here lies the first battle. Do you continue to live within the confines of these beliefs, or do you break free and redefine yourself on your own terms? The internal conflict is fierce. On one side, you hear the voices telling you that you're not enough, that you'll never succeed, that you're destined for mediocrity. On the other side, there is a flicker of hope, a quiet defiance, a yearning to break free from the mental prisons you've built. This is where the real transformation begins, the moment when you confront these beliefs head-on and choose to rewrite your story. It starts with awareness. You must first recognize the lies you've been telling yourself. The belief that you are too damaged, too weak, too broken to rise above your circumstances is nothing more than a narrative that you've carried for far too long. These beliefs, however deeply rooted, do not define you unless you allow them to. This awareness is the first step toward liberation. Once you understand the stories you've been living under, you begin the process of dismantling them piece by piece. The journey to redefine your identity on your terms isn't easy. It requires courage to confront the lies you've believed and the strength to challenge them. It means looking at the mirror and seeing yourself, not through the lens of judgment and self-doubt, but through the eyes of possibility and self-love. You must choose to believe in your potential, not in your past. You must choose to see your struggles not as limitations, but as lessons. Lessons that have shaped you, built your resilience, and refined your character. This is where the empowering shift occurs. It's the moment when you stop letting your past dictate your future, when you stop allowing external circumstances to define who you are. It's the moment when you take back your power and begin to see yourself for who you truly are, not a victim of your circumstances, but a creator of your destiny. You begin to realize that your worth is not contingent on the approval of others, nor is it determined by the setbacks you've faced. Your worth is inherent. It's a part of you. It's woven into the very fabric of your being, and nothing can take it away unless you let it. As you begin to shift your mindset, you start to notice that the external world begins to reflect your internal transformation. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach now seem possible. People who once doubted you now begin to see you in a new light. And most importantly, you begin to see yourself differently. You begin to realize that you are stronger than you ever imagined, capable of far more than you ever believed. There are countless examples of people who have turned their greatest hardships into sources of strength. Consider the story of a woman who lost everything: her home, her family, her sense of stability, and was left with nothing but the clothes on her back. She could have succumbed to despair, but instead, she chose to rise. She started from nothing, rebuilt her life piece by piece, and eventually became a successful entrepreneur, using her story of loss and resilience to inspire others. Or think of a man who was told he would never walk again after a car accident left him paralyzed. He could have surrendered to bitterness and self-pity, but instead, he fought. He pushed through physical pain, mental exhaustion, and countless setbacks, eventually running a marathon in a wheelchair. His story became one of triumph, not in spite of his disability, but because of it. These stories aren't exceptions. They are a testament to the power of the human spirit to break free from limiting beliefs, to transform pain into purpose, and to turn hardship into fuel for greatness. Every person who has faced adversity and emerged stronger than before has done so by breaking free from the beliefs that told them they were powerless. They chose to see themselves differently, to redefine their potential, and to live in a way that reflected their true strength. Now it's your turn. The internal conflict is real, and the road to transformation is long and challenging. But every step you take toward breaking free from the limiting beliefs that have held you back is a victory. Every time you choose to defy the voices of doubt and embrace the possibility of your own greatness, you are rewriting your story. And as you continue this journey, you will begin to see that your strength doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from being real, from embracing the full spectrum of who you are, and from using every setback as a stepping stone to something greater. The process of breaking free from limiting beliefs is not a one-time event. It is a continuous journey, one that requires vigilance, resilience, and a deep trust in yourself. But with each step, you will grow stronger, more empowered, and more aligned with the truth of who you are. And in the end, you will look back and see that the greatest source of strength you could have ever found was not in the absence of struggle, but in the way you chose to rise despite it. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in a world that celebrates invincibility, strength, and self-sufficiency. It's perceived as the antithesis of power, something to be hidden, avoided, or even suppressed. We are taught from a young age that to be strong means to appear unaffected, to hide our emotions, to bury our pain. We are told that strength is synonymous with control, with an impenetrable exterior that no one can break. But here's the truth. Vulnerability is not the absence of strength. It is its very foundation. In fact, vulnerability, when embraced fully, is the key to unlocking a power that is deep, enduring, and transformative. The paradox of strength lies in this. The very thing society deems as weakness, being open, authentic, and emotionally raw, is the source of your truest power. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, to show up fully as you are, without the need for armor or pretension, you build an unshakable foundation of strength. Vulnerability is not about being fragile. It is about being real. It is about having the courage to stand in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the world might judge you. And in doing so, you unlock the power that lies within. When you embrace your vulnerability, you stop hiding from your pain and your fears. You stop pretending to be something you're not. Instead, you step into your authenticity, allowing yourself to be seen, heard, and understood. It's in this rawness, this openness, that real transformation occurs. By acknowledging and owning your vulnerability, you open yourself to healing, to growth, and to a strength that cannot be shattered by the pressures of the world. This is where true empowerment lies. Not in pretending to be perfect or invulnerable, but in owning every part of yourself, including your flaws and your struggles. It is through this embrace of vulnerability that you find the power to rise, not despite your struggles, but because of them. You begin to see that your pain does not make you less, it makes you more. It makes you human. And it is this humanity, this ability to feel deeply, to love fiercely, to grieve profoundly, that becomes the bedrock of your greatest strength. Consider the emotional highs and lows that define the human experience. Think of those who have faced unimaginable challenges, yet have found a way to turn their vulnerability into their greatest asset. Take, for example, the story of someone who has endured profound loss, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the collapse of a dream. In the beginning, vulnerability feels like a burden. It feels like an open wound that will never heal. But over time, as this person allows themselves to feel, to mourn, to express their grief without shame, they begin to discover something powerful. The strength that comes from being raw, from allowing yourself to be human in the face of pain. One of the most powerful examples of this is seen in those who have faced personal or public humiliation, only to turn it into a force for change. Imagine someone who has been betrayed by those closest to them, someone who has been torn apart by heartbreak, only to rise from the ashes of their pain and use it as a platform to help others. Their vulnerability, once a source of shame, becomes their greatest strength. It allows them to connect with others on a deep, authentic level, to inspire, to lead, and to transform not only their own lives, but the lives of those around them. This is the transformative power of vulnerability. In another powerful example, consider a public figure who, despite their fame and success, has struggled with mental health issues. They could have hidden their struggles, kept up the facade of perfection, but instead they chose to be vulnerable. They shared their battles with the world, not for pity, but to create a space for others to do the same. Their vulnerability became a tool of empowerment, not just for themselves, but for millions who felt alone in their own struggles. By embracing their vulnerability, they broke the silence around mental health, creating a movement of support, healing, and strength. This journey of embracing vulnerability is not easy. It requires deep courage and an unwavering belief that you are enough, exactly as you are. It requires letting go of the need for approval, the need to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be, and simply showing up as your true self. It requires leaning into the discomfort, into the uncertainty, and trusting that in your vulnerability there is immense power. Now take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about the times when you've been vulnerable, the times when you've opened your heart, allowed yourself to be seen, or shared your pain with others. How did it feel? Did you feel exposed, raw, maybe even a little afraid? But did you also feel something else? A sense of connection, of strength, of being fully alive. It is in these moments of vulnerability that we find our true power. These are the moments when we come face to face with who we really are, without the armor we so often wear to protect ourselves. Ask yourself, what would happen if you embraced your vulnerability more fully? What would happen if you allowed yourself to be seen not as perfect, but as real? What if you let go of the fear of judgment and allowed your pain, your struggles, your humanity to become the source of your greatest strength? This is the challenge. To lean into your vulnerability, to embrace it as a tool for transformation, and to use it to create a life of authentic power. By doing this, you not only heal yourself, but you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon of hope, showing that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a testament to the strength it takes to be human. And in embracing this truth, you find that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. The most difficult battles are not fought on the outside, they are fought within. The internal wars that rage in the silence of your mind, in the hidden corners of your heart. It's easy to look at the external challenges we face in life and believe that those are the true enemies. The tough circumstances, the toxic relationships, the failures that seem to define us. But the real enemy, the one that stands between us and our greatness, is often the one we don't see. The voice inside our head, the self-doubt, the negative self-talk, the fears that keep us chained to the past and hold us back from stepping into the fullness of our potential. This internal battle is the ultimate conflict. It is the fight between who you truly are and who you think you are. It is the struggle between your dreams and your fears, between your vision for the future and the limiting beliefs of your past. The voice of fear is loud, unrelenting, and often convincing. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve success, that you'll never be able to overcome your failures. It magnifies your insecurities and whispers that you're incapable of change. These voices become your enemy, and they often feel like an unshakable force, one that you cannot escape. They have the power to shape your reality, to determine your actions, and to keep you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and defeat. But this is where the power to rise truly lies, in confronting this enemy within. The battle is not about eliminating fear or self-doubt completely. It's about learning to face them head-on, to challenge their authority in your life. It's about realizing that you are not your fears. You are not your insecurities. You are not the negative thoughts that plague your mind. These are not your truth. They are simply patterns of thinking that you've allowed to dictate your life. And just as easily as they were formed, they can be unformed. The journey to overcoming the enemy within starts with awareness. You must first recognize the thoughts that hold you captive. These negative beliefs don't come out of nowhere. They are learned, formed through past experiences, mistakes, and the judgments of others. They take root in your psyche over time until they become so ingrained that you believe they are the truth about who you are. But they are not the truth. They are just stories, stories that you have the power to change. The first step is to become conscious of these stories, to notice when they arise, and to challenge their validity. Every time you hear that voice telling you that you are not enough, you have the choice to respond. You can choose to listen to it, or you can choose to reject it. Rising above the enemy within is not about perfection. It's about courage. It's about daring to move forward, even when you're terrified, even when the voice of fear is screaming in your ear. It's about doing the work, day after day, to reframe your thoughts, to change your mindset, and to build a new narrative. It's about showing up for yourself, even when you feel like you don't have the strength to continue. Because the truth is, the more you show up for yourself, the more you break the chains of self-doubt, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of so much more than you realize. One of the most powerful strategies for overcoming the enemy within is to reframe your mindset. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid or run from, begin to see it as a signal for growth. Fear is often the thing that stands between you and your next level of greatness. It is the edge of your comfort zone, the place where you feel most vulnerable and most alive. Embrace it. Walk into it. The more you face your fears, the smaller they become. The more you take action in spite of them, the less power they hold over you. Victory is not just about silencing the enemy within. It's about understanding that this enemy is not something to be defeated, but something to be integrated into your journey. The inner battle doesn't end when you've conquered your fears. It ends when you've learned to coexist with them. When you've learned that fear is not the enemy, but a catalyst for growth. When you've learned that the negative self-talk is not your truth, but a sign that you are moving into new territory, pushing boundaries and expanding your potential. As you rise above the enemy within, you begin to experience personal growth in ways you never thought possible. You gain confidence, not because you've eliminated all fear or self-doubt, but because you've learned to take action despite them. You gain resilience because every time you face your fears and push past them, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. You gain self-love because you begin to understand that you are worthy of everything you desire, regardless of the negative voices that try to pull you back. Consider the stories of those who have faced their own inner enemies and emerged victorious. There are countless examples of people who, despite their fears, insecurities, and doubts, have found a way to step into their power. Think of the athlete who has been told time and again that they are too small, too weak, and not talented enough to succeed, but who trains relentlessly, pushing through every fear, every failure, until they reach the pinnacle of success. Think of the entrepreneur who faced rejection after rejection, each one reinforcing the voice that told them they weren't good enough, but who kept going, building and growing until their company became a multi-million-dollar success. These stories are not just stories of triumph. They are stories of overcoming the greatest battle there is, the battle within. The moment you embrace this internal conflict, you begin to realize that every setback, every failure, every doubt is simply another opportunity for you to grow. When you confront the enemy within, you step into a life of endless possibility because you no longer fear what's inside of you. You have learned to work with it, to use it as fuel, and in doing so, you have unlocked your greatest strength. The real victory lies not in defeating the enemy, but in learning how to rise above it, again and again, until it no longer has power over you. Pain is something we all try to avoid. It's uncomfortable, it's raw, and it often feels unbearable in the moment. It's the feeling that cuts deep, leaving scars that linger long after the storm has passed. We all have experienced it, the heartache, the loss, the failure, the betrayal. Pain comes in many forms, and it often feels like the end of the road. It can seem like a force so overwhelming, it has the power to crush our spirit and silence our hopes. But here's the truth. Pain is not the end. It is the beginning. Pain, when harnessed, becomes the raw material for transformation, the fuel that propels us toward our true potential. Too often, we see pain as something to be avoided, something to be ashamed of. We are taught to push through, to suppress it, to hide it from the world. We wear our masks, pretending that everything is fine when we are, in fact, falling apart on the inside. But what if we stopped running from our pain? What if, instead of seeing it as a burden, we viewed it as the catalyst for our greatest growth? The truth is, pain has the power to shape us, to refine us, and to make us stronger than we ever imagined. When you understand that pain is not something to fear, but something to embrace, you unlock its transformative power. Pain is the fire that refines us, the forge in which our character is shaped and strengthened. It is through the trials of life that we are honed, just as a blade is sharpened by the fire and the stone. The heat of the flames may burn, but they are also the very thing that gives us strength. It is in the moments of our greatest struggle that we discover what we are truly made of. Pain breaks us open, revealing the parts of ourselves we may have never known existed. The fire that shapes us is not a gentle one. It is a blazing inferno, a a force that challenges everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the world around us. But this fire is also the crucible that forges our resilience, our perseverance, and our will to keep going. The metaphor of the phoenix rising from the ashes is powerful because it captures the essence of transformation. The phoenix, burned and destroyed, emerges from the fire, reborn and stronger than before. The ashes of our pain are not a sign of our destruction. They are the foundation of our rebirth. From the darkest moments of our lives, we find the strength to rise again, to rebuild, to become something greater than we ever were before. Pain teaches us lessons that nothing else can. It forces us to face our vulnerabilities, to confront our fears, and to discover our inner strength. Pain strips away the illusions and the pretenses, leaving us raw, but also it is in these moments of vulnerability that we find the truth of who we are. We discover a resilience we never knew we had, a strength that cannot be broken by external circumstances. Pain, in its purest form, is a teacher. It shows us what we are capable of, even when we feel like we have nothing left. Consider the stories of well-known figures who have turned their pain into power. One of the most famous examples is that of Nelson Mandela, whose 27 years of imprisonment could have broken his spirit. Instead, it forged him into one of the most powerful figures of the 20th century. Mandela's pain, his suffering, and his sacrifice became the driving force behind his mission for peace and justice. He didn't allow the injustices he endured to define him in a negative way. Instead, he used them to fuel his determination to create change. His suffering became his strength, and through that strength, he transformed not only his own life, but the lives of millions. Similarly, the story of Oprah Winfrey is a testament to the transformative power of pain. Oprah faced years of abuse and adversity, and yet she used her pain as fuel for her rise to success. She didn't let her past define her as a victim. Instead, she turned her struggles into the driving force behind her career and philanthropy. Oprah often speaks about the power of overcoming adversity, and how each hardship she faced was a lesson that helped her grow and evolve. Her pain didn't defeat her. It empowered her to create the life she has today. Fictional characters, too, provide powerful examples of pain as a source of strength. Take, for example, Harry Potter. Throughout the series, Harry endures unimaginable loss and pain, losing his parents, facing constant danger, and bearing the weight of a prophecy that makes him the target of the darkest wizard in existence. Yet, through every trial, Harry grows stronger. His pain becomes the fuel for his courage, his determination, and his ability to face the impossible. Harry learns that the very pain that haunts him is the source of his power, and it is this power that ultimately leads him to victory. Another compelling example is that of Rocky Balboa, the underdog boxer who rises from the depths of hardship and self-doubt to become a champion. Throughout the Rocky series, the character is battered and broken, physically and emotionally, but with each blow, he grows stronger. His pain, both physical and emotional, becomes the fire that pushes him to keep fighting, to never give up, no matter the odds. His triumph is not just a victory in the ring, it is the victory of the human spirit to rise no matter how many times it has been knocked down. Pain, in these stories, is not the end, it is the beginning of transformation. It is the seed from which strength, resilience, and greatness are born. It is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced. For in the pain lies the power to change, to evolve, and to become something greater than we ever imagined. This chapter is an invitation to transform your own pain into power, to take the hardships, the heartbreaks, and the struggles of your life and use them to fuel your growth. It is a call to see pain not as a mark of defeat, but as the very thing that will propel you forward. Embrace the fire that shapes you, let it burn away the old, and let it forge a new version of yourself, one that is unshakable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. There is a strength within you, a power that lies dormant beneath the surface, waiting to be awakened. It is the kind of strength that doesn't scream for attention, nor does it demand recognition. This strength is quiet, subtle, often hidden beneath layers of fear, self-doubt, and past experiences that have tried to define who you are. It's the power that has always been there, but you may not have yet recognized it. It's the resilience, the inner fire, the untapped potential that resides deep within you, waiting for the right moment to emerge. For so long, you may have believed that strength is something external, something you need to gain, acquire, or develop through external achievements or validation. But the truth is, the strength you seek has always been inside you. It's not something you need to prove or earn. It's a part of you, woven into the very fabric of your being. The strength within you is not about external circumstances or validation. It is about tapping into your true self, the self that is unshakable and invincible, regardless of the trials and challenges you face. But this hidden power is not always easy to access. It is often obscured by the noise of the world, by the judgments of others, by the voices of fear and insecurity that cloud your vision. It is hidden by the very things that tell you that you are not enough, that you cannot succeed, and that you are powerless. These layers of doubt, of fear, of past hurts must be peeled back, one by one, to reveal the strength that has been within you all along. And this process of discovery is one of the most powerful journeys you will ever undertake. The discovery process begins in moments of silence, reflection, and introspection. It requires you to step away from the chaos of the world and listen to the voice within. In the stillness, you begin to hear the whispers of your true self, the part of you that knows your worth, your potential, and your purpose. It is in these moments of silence that the layers of fear and doubt begin to melt away, and you are left with the raw, unfiltered truth of who you really are. The more you lean into these moments of self-discovery, the more you uncover the hidden power within you. Introspection is the key to unlocking this strength. It's about asking yourself the hard questions, questions that challenge you to look beyond your surface-level perceptions of who you are. What are your deepest fears? What are the stories you've been telling yourself about your limitations? What do you truly believe about your ability to succeed, to grow, and to overcome? As you reflect on these questions, you begin to unearth the truth. You are capable of far more than you've given yourself credit for. The strength you seek is not outside of you. It is within you, waiting to be activated. Once you've begun the process of self-discovery, the next step is to activate this strength. Activation happens when you stop seeking validation from external sources and start trusting your own inner wisdom. It happens when you decide to stop letting fear control you, when you make the conscious choice to act in alignment with your true power. Activation is not a passive process. It is an active choice to step into the fullness of who you are, regardless of the doubts and obstacles that may arise. This process of activation radically shifts the course of your life. When you tap into your unseen strength, everything changes. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw limitations. You start to take bold, fearless action, knowing that you have the power to create your own path. You stop waiting for permission or approval, and you start trusting your intuition and your inner wisdom. As you activate this hidden power, you begin to feel a sense of confidence, peace, and purpose that you may never have known before. There is a profound shift that occurs when you activate your unseen strength. It's as if a door opens to a new reality, one where anything is possible. You no longer see yourself as powerless or incapable. You begin to see yourself as a force of nature, unstoppable, resilient, and capable of achieving the impossible. The limitations that once seemed insurmountable now appear small in comparison to the strength that you carry within you. The power to shift your life is already inside you. It's not something that you need to wait for or earn. It is a power that has always been there, waiting for you to recognize it, embrace it, and activate it. The more you tap into this power, the more you realize that you are the creator of your own destiny. Your strength is not determined by the world around you. It is determined by the choices you make, by the belief you have in your own potential, and by your willingness to step into the fullness of who you are. This unseen strength is your birthright. It is the power that lies within every human being, and it is the force that will carry you through any challenge, any hardship, and any adversity. When you learn to trust it, to activate it, and to live from it, your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. The hidden power within you is not just a possibility, it is a certainty. And the moment you decide to tap into it, you will see your life shift in ways you never imagined. The past has a way of holding us captive. It whispers in our ear, reminding us of who we were, how we failed, and all the reasons we should never try again. It clings to us, shaping the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we are capable of. For years, many of us have carried the weight of these old narratives, the stories of weakness, of failure, of limitations that others placed upon us. These narratives have become a part of our identity, dictating how we view ourselves and how we approach the world. But the journey of true transformation begins when we make the decision to let go of these old stories. The process of outgrowing the past is not easy, but it is the only path to freedom, empowerment, and the life we were always meant to live. Letting go of old narratives is a powerful and liberating act. It requires us to confront the stories we've internalized, the stories that were handed down to us by society, by our families, by the world around us. These narratives often tell us that we are not enough, that we are defined by our failures, that our past mistakes will always define who we are. But when we begin to question these stories, we realize they are not the truth. They are merely the perceptions and judgments of others. Perceptions that no longer have the power to define us. It's time to shed the old narrative of weakness and step into the narrative of strength, resilience, and limitless potential. This journey of letting go often requires deep inner work that challenges us to release the stories we've clung to for so long. The stories we carry, no matter how painful, are often intertwined with our sense of self. They are the lenses through which we view the world, and it can be difficult to separate ourselves from them. But the truth is, we are not the stories we've been told, and we are not the stories we've told ourselves. We are the ones who have the power to write our own narrative. And when we choose to rewrite our story, we step into a new reality, one in which we are the authors of our lives. Rewriting your story is an act of liberation. It is the moment you take back control, the moment you decide that the past no longer has any hold over you. This is not about forgetting or erasing the past. It's about reframing it. It's about looking at the challenges, the failures, the heartbreaks, and seeing them not as sources of shame or limitation, but as stepping stones to your growth. Every struggle, every moment of pain has played a part in shaping the person you are today. And now it's time to take all of that and transform it into a narrative of empowerment. When you rewrite your story, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances. You stop defining yourself by the things that happen to you and begin defining yourself by the choices you make in the present moment. You shift from being passive in your life to being active in your transformation. Your story becomes one of resilience, courage, and strength. You begin to see yourself not as a product of your past, but as the architect of your future. The act of rewriting your story is also deeply symbolic. It represents the shedding of old identities, the old versions of yourself that no longer serve you. But this shedding is not a passive event. It is a conscious, intentional decision. You must make the decision to leave behind the versions of yourself that were defined by fear, self-doubt, and past mistakes. This is a decision to step into a new identity, one that reflects your true power, your potential, and your capacity for growth. Symbolic acts of rebirth are the rituals, decisions, and events that signify the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. These acts are markers of transformation. They represent the moment when you consciously choose to let go of the old and embrace the new. They can be small, private moments, like writing down the negative stories you've been telling yourself and burning them, symbolizing the release of old narratives. Or they can be more significant moments, like making a bold decision to leave a toxic relationship, quit a job that no longer serves you, or move to a new city to start fresh. These acts symbolize the shedding of old identities and the embrace of new possibilities. In the process of outgrowing the past, you may also engage in symbolic acts that mark your growth, rituals that reinforce the new narrative you are creating. This might involve setting intentions, creating new goals, or engaging in creative expressions that reflect your inner transformation. It could involve embracing self-care practices that nurture your mind, body, and spirit as a way of honoring the new version of yourself. Whatever form these symbolic acts take, they serve as powerful reminders that you are no longer defined by your past. You are free to create a new reality, one where you are the hero of your own story. Outgrowing the past is not about denying the experiences that have shaped you. It is about recognizing that you have the power to transform those experiences into the fuel for your future. It's about choosing to see yourself not as a prisoner of your past, but as the creator of your future. When you let go of the old narrative, rewrite your story, and engage in symbolic acts of rebirth, you step into a life of limitless potential. You outgrow the past and step into your power, fully aware of the strength that has always been within you. This process is the ultimate act of self-liberation. It is the declaration that you will no longer be defined by what happened to you. You will be defined by what you choose to become. And as you outgrow the past, you will see that the future is a canvas waiting for you to paint your masterpiece. Resilience is not something we are born with. It is not an inherent trait that some people have and others do not. Resilience is a muscle, one that can be developed, strengthened, and conditioned over time. Just like any other physical strength, resilience grows through repeated effort, through facing challenges head-on, and through overcoming the obstacles that life throws at us. The more we face adversity and rise above it, the stronger we become. The more we endure, the more resilient we become. And this process of developing resilience is what turns us into the unbreakable people we are meant to be. The idea of resilience often conjures images of bouncing back, of getting back up after life knocks us down. But true resilience is more than just recovery. It is growth. Every time we face a setback, a failure, or a loss, we are given an opportunity to strengthen our resolve, to refine our inner fortitude, and to increase our capacity for perseverance. Resilience is about building our ability to withstand life's challenges without being permanently broken by them. It is about learning to bend without breaking, to fall without staying down. The key to resilience is not in avoiding pain, but in learning how to transform it into power. The process of building resilience starts with mindset. It begins with the decision that no matter what happens, you will not be defeated. When you face adversity, you must choose to rise again, each time stronger than before. The setbacks, failures, and losses that come your way are not obstacles. They are opportunities to grow stronger, to deepen your sense of self, and to develop an unshakable will. You must view every challenge as a chance to prove to yourself that you are capable of withstanding whatever life throws at you. This mindset is what fuels the growth of your resilience muscle. It is the willingness to keep moving forward even when the road ahead seems impossible. Rising again is not an easy feat. It takes everything you have, every ounce of strength, every shred of hope, and every bit of courage you can muster. But the more you rise, the easier it becomes. The more you confront your fears, the more you confront your failures, the more you begin to understand that nothing can hold you down for long. Every time you get back up, you strengthen your ability to rise again, to continue fighting and to move forward with greater determination. This process is what forges an unbreakable resolve, a mental and emotional toughness that cannot be broken, no matter how many times you fall. Resilience is built not only by rising after setbacks, but by choosing to grow from them. Every failure holds a lesson. Every loss holds an opportunity to learn. When you face challenges, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to build my strength, to build my wisdom, to build my resilience? It is through this process of growth that resilience becomes ingrained in your character. You no longer see setbacks as signs of defeat. They become catalysts for your evolution. With each failure, you shed old limitations and become stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. The key to an unbreakable resolve lies in developing the mindset of someone who knows they can never be defeated. This mindset is not about ignoring the pain or pretending that setbacks don't hurt. It's about acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and continuing to move forward anyway. An unbreakable resolve is about refusing to give up, no matter how many times you face rejection, no matter how many times life tries to knock you down. It is about understanding that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but a part of the process of growth. It is about knowing that you are stronger than anything that comes your way. To develop this kind of resilience and unbreakable resolve, you must embrace the discomfort of growth. True strength is not built in the moments of ease and comfort. It is forged in the fire of adversity. You must be willing to face challenges head on, knowing that they will make you stronger. You must be willing to fail, to fall, and to rise again, understanding that each time you do, you are becoming more unshakable, more unstoppable, and more capable of facing whatever lies ahead. Building resilience is not a quick or easy process. It takes time, effort, and commitment. But once you've cultivated this strength, it becomes a part of you. You become someone who rises no matter how many times you fall. You become someone who understands that setbacks are not the end. They are the beginning of a new chapter. And with each challenge you overcome, you become more unbreakable. In the quiet moments of reflection, it becomes clear. The very struggles, the vulnerabilities, and the setbacks that others may have perceived as your weaknesses are in truth the sources of your greatest strength. The world has tried to define you by your pain, by your challenges, by your scars, but you know better now. You understand that it is not in spite of your pain that you have become strong. It is because of it. It is through every obstacle, every hardship, and every defeat that you have discovered the power within you that cannot be broken, cannot be shaken, and cannot be diminished. This is your truth, your power, and it is the foundation of everything you will become. You are not weak because of your vulnerability. You are powerful because of it. The struggles you've faced, the tears you've shed, the battles you've fought, these are the things that have shaped you into someone who is unyielding, unstoppable, and absolutely capable of achieving everything you set your mind to. The world may have tried to diminish you, to label you, to make you believe that you are lesser, but now you know that you are their greatest strength. You were never their weakness. You were always their greatest asset. You were always the force they underestimated, the one they never saw coming. But now, you know who you truly are, and that is the most powerful realization you will ever have. As you stand at the threshold of the next chapter of your life, I challenge you to fully embrace the power that has always been within you. Don't shy away from your vulnerability. Don't hide from your struggles. Embrace them. Let them be the fuel that drives you, the foundation upon which you build your dreams. Understand that every battle you've fought, every hardship you've endured, has shaped you into the person you are today. And that person is unstoppable. So, I ask you, what will you do with this newfound strength? Will you allow the world's perception of you to continue to dictate who you are? Or will you rise and step into your full potential? Will you keep running from your power? Or will you claim it with confidence and purpose? The time has come for you to stop playing small. The time has come for you to stop holding back. You are no longer defined by what others have said about you, and you are no longer defined by your past. You are defined by the strength within you, the strength that was born of your struggles, your vulnerability, and your unshakable resolve. This is your moment. The world is waiting for you to step into the full force of your power. You are their greatest strength. Do not let them forget it. You have been through too much, learned too many lessons, and grown too strong to ever go back. You are the person they underestimated, the one they tried to break, but you are also the person who will change the world. You are the person who will rise every time, no matter how many times you fall. You are the one who will refuse to be defined by anything other than your own power, your own strength, and your own limitless potential. So, go forth with confidence, knowing that the power you hold within you is the most formidable force in the world. You are unstoppable, you are unbreakable, and no one, nothing, can ever take that away from you. Now stand tall, step into your greatness. You are the force that the world has been waiting for.